Hello everyone, Gary is here, and today we will start our new webinar, weekly webinar. And before we start, and while we're waiting our speakers, please text in the chat how are you doing and where are you from. Yeah, hi Kamal.
Hey, how's it going, Gary? You okay?
Yeah, doing good. How about you?
Amazing. Awesome.
Yeah. Great. I think we have like 1-2 minutes to wait all our audience.
Sure.
And I want to say that today is a really interesting webinar, and I think you could ask any question in our chat because today we will talk more about trends for agencies, for marketers in 2026. And I think it's really important to get this information in December because it's a really good time to spend like some weeks to prepare and start with new knowledge from January, from February. Yeah, and don't waste the big part of the next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I know that right now there are a lot of trends for marketing, and I think we have like 4 or 5 very important trends, and I think Kamal is really best person to highlight these trends because Kamal, you're best person who work with local business, you're a successful agency, and I think you feel these trends. It's not like big reports for big analytics companies because it's just the numbers from some strange audience. It's trends from fields, and you know what local business want, and you know how to change the agencies in 2026. And by this reason, I think stage is yours, and let's start.
Amazing. Thank you for the introduction, Gary. So yeah, I will start and share my screen if that's okay. There you go. Go share. Okay. If you can tell me, you can see the screen.
Yes,
Okay.
everything is okay.
Okay, amazing. So I've prepared a small presentation to go through our webinar today, and of course, it's all about what's coming in agencies 2026, what's kind of changing, what is the kind of route we have taken as a company, and how we're using Boomerang basically as kind of the main tool within our business to kind of earn a reoccurring revenue, because I guess that's the main thing here, is to have a sustainable, predictable business that gives you some sort of income that you're stable and happy with on a monthly basis, right? So the first point is what we have done, and moving forward, it will only get more and more common, is basically shifting from services to outcome. Gone are the days when you can say, "Hey, I will build you a website, and that's it." What that website does is, after, I will do this for you, and then that's it. So you'll pay me for something that I'm going to do for you, right? And what it does after is gone. Now it's changing from, okay, you're going to do whatever the work that you do. You're going to do me a website. You're going to do ads. You're going to do social media creatives. What's coming now is, what is the impact of that thing that you have done for me as an agency, right? So the question business owners are asking, okay, great. So that's the service you provide. what impact, what ROI am I going to get from this, and how are you going to show me? It's already happening. It's already like the number one question from small to medium sized businesses who we are targeting, who Boomerang is best fit for. And they're asking these questions. Say, okay, how are you going to show me what you're doing for me in terms of ROI? How do I know that the money that I'm paying you is going to be worth it, right? So the main thing here will be shifting from service-based businesses to outcome-based, right? Clients are tired of paying for work, like I said, this thing that you have done for them. They want very measurable outcome in revenue and in customers as well. And agencies must learn to deliver predictable results and take responsibility for the numbers and stand out from others. Now, this in itself is a big problem for agencies, even for those agencies that kind of can and able to, kind of deliver the revenue, the show the outcome, the ROI. It's like, how do you show it? That in itself is a challenge. Creating reports, this, that, and everything, measuring, because you as an agency, you have to stay organized yourself to start with, to begin with, in order for you to show those numbers and figures and stats and everything to your customers. So, how do you actually stand out as an agency? I guess the key question here. Okay, so firstly, and again, I'm not going to go into like very much details in this webinar. I'm going to kind of talk about the high level, top level things here. Um, Ultimately, what you have to do is provide crystal clear ROI, right? And then how you provide it is basically, so I've got some, some of the crystal clear, and I always use the word crystal. It has to be very clear, ROIs that we provided for some of the clients, basically. So, for example, here, and it doesn't get clearer than this, right? And that is the, like I said here, provide crystal clear, and it doesn't get clearer than this, right? So as clear as you can possibly get. And that's the beauty with Boomerang, is that it is very much crystal clear because of the way the dashboard works. I'm sure if you've, some of you guys might have used the dashboard already or seen it. If you have a trial account, if you haven't, you must get a trial account and just, mess about with it at least, right? For example, here's a restaurant. What is the crystal clear ROI? Is quite simple. You've made, because of, and we can say that, because of Boomerang, because of this tool, because of this thing that we've introduced in your business, look at your growth. Before you were this, now you are that. In numbers, this is what you have earned. And that is the difference, right? How much more clear can it get, right? So here are some more, detailed stats. Basically, we're able to show basically transactions, revenue, how much revenue they have generated, how much more transaction, what is the lift in the revenue because of what Boomerang provides, basically. So just to kind of break this down, what we're looking at here, as you can see here, this is the type of reporting that the customers get, basically, is all the customer base in the business, basically, is divided into two groups. So group A and group B. So group A is the control group, where Boomerang, and of course I will talk about the AI side of things because that's a big subject now. Boomerang has the new AI, rich AI feature, as you, for those of you who don't know now know, I guess. And it's live for everybody, right? For all the new accounts. So what it does, basically, the customer base is divided into two groups. Now, group A, the AI does nothing. It just leaves it as it is. It doesn't touch those customers. Group B is where the AI does what it's supposed to do, communicate with the customers. And we can then show, okay, well, look, group A, that's your normal group. This is your normal customers. We haven't done anything, and is, nobody's done. You haven't done anything, nobody's done anything. So here's the result for your group A, and here's group B, where our AI has intervened, done what it's supposed to do, and look at the difference, in kind of a value in terms of 9.2 million versus 10 point something million here. Sorry, that's a screenshot here, and lift in revenue is 13%. And you can see the graphs here as well that says, so maybe this one cumulative, that's very nice and clean here. So as you can see, the group A, which is green here, group B is the test group. So test group is always higher and is increasing, right? So it is very, very crystal clear. It's not just saying, hey, look, blah, blah. It's actually dividing the customer base and saying, hey, look, with Boomerang, here's what it is. Without Boomerang, here's what it is. How much more crystal clear can you get, right? Same again, more different types of restaurant with different number of customers enrolled, basically, like ridiculous, 138% revenue in lift. You can see the graphs here, how crazy it is. There's more, some more stats here for you, and I can go on and on and on, but you get the picture. It's basically providing a very crystal clear, right? And like I said, it doesn't get clearer than this. So just imagine showing this to your customer, right? Now, then more thing, just showing the crystal clear ROI is not good enough, because they have to kind of get there, right? There needs to be, you need to get customers to enroll into the rewards program. The AI needs to kick in, and then they see that, of course, maybe it might take a month or 2 or 3 or whatever it is, right? But you also want to show them results on the way, on the journey, and you want to show them everything. You want to show them in numbers, in their numbers. You want to show them the good numbers. You want to show them the bad numbers. You want to show them, progress with numbers, right? So some examples of some good numbers as an example, right? So here's a campaign somebody's done when they launched a new menu, and they put certain items, profitable ones, on a discount, and they've done a coupon code, right? Now, from this one campaign, that customers managed to get almost 1,800 new customers that has provided them with the data, phone, email, date of birth. Of that, over 1,200 members successfully managed to install the card into their phone. Of them, 399 of them actually visited that restaurant with that coupon, and which means 835 didn't, right? So now this is also, kind of results as well in a way, right? Because the end result, of course, is how much money have I made. But these numbers here, you now have almost 1,800 new customers in your database, right? So it's the progress, it's the journey that you're seeing. So you're able to kind of quantify results from the beginning, right? So just imagine, this is, of course, a restaurant. So just imagine when they had the offer running, of course, the customer signed up first, right? And then they visited. Now, before they were able to see this number here, before the end of the campaign, they've seen this just to begin with, probably from day one. On the first day, they probably saw, oh, I've got another, 50 new customers who've shown interest in what I have to offer. Amazing. So you're showing results from very earlier on, right? Here's some more example, right? It's a different type of offer. Okay, £10 off, and then there's a minimum spend or something like that. Again, not as successful as the other one, but hey, there's stats there. There's clear, numbers for the business owner to see from day one. They can see, okay, how many signed up, how many transactions, how many redeemed. Key thing here, well, look, 85 redeemed, 167 didn't redeem. That means they didn't visit my business still. Now they have the data, they can go back to it, right? So this is, again, very, very clear returns on their investment in terms of, remember what we talked about, it's not just in revenue, in customers, because local businesses, of course, they understand these two things. Have I got more customers? Has my revenue increased, right? But hey, it's not all about the good numbers. If you only share the good numbers, that doesn't work. You need to share the bad numbers as well, right? Why? Because it shows that you as a marketer, you as an agency, you know exactly what you're doing, because not everything is going to go smooth. There will be some campaigns, there will be some things that you're going to do that's not going to work. Well, how do you know when something works and something that doesn't work? It's important to know, because if you know when something that doesn't work, you as an agency, if you know, and if the business owner, your client, if they know, then they know not to repeat the same thing again or to change it, right? So it's not just about the ones that worked. The ones that worked, great, but also show them ROI in the sense that I'm giving you return on your investment because I'm telling you what doesn't work and I'm saving you money. I'm saving you from making that mistake again, right? So that's also very important, right? Because they've done another campaign as an example. And this is a very good comparison, actually. See this? They've done when they launched the menu, it says 25% off food, new menu, right? And this one, again, 50% off food, new menu. When they done the 25%, can you see? Not much response. Okay. And then what they've done from this, they've only made this. This is, by the way, it's in pounds because that was a UK customer, somebody that I personally dealt with. So I have access to their account. I can get the screenshots, and they don't mind sharing it. I've got the permission, of course. But look at the difference here. When they've learned from this, they thought, oh, this is not typical results, and they changed it. They've been strategic. They said, okay, let's change it to 50%, but let's only do it on certain items, right? And let's rerun that campaign again. Look at the difference, right? So it's very important that you can kind of measure results, measure the bad numbers as well, measure the bad results, the ones that didn't work, right? They've done a free curry. Okay, it's okay, but look, not much revenue, only 12 redeemed, something terribly went wrong here, right? But hey, look, they've got their stats, they've got everything there now to learn from this. So you as an agency, and again, this is you, or this is us basically, without doing anything. We're not building these numbers. These numbers are already there. It's done by Boomerang. It's in a dashboard, nicely laid out for us as an agency, and it's also laid out for the business owners to see as well. And when they look at it, they can even pinpoint, hey, something is clearly wrong here. What can we do, right? The other thing is show, progression with numbers, right? Okay, like we have here, 25%, this was the result, 50%, this was the result. But what you want to do is not all campaign, not everything you do will, produce amazing results from day one. It might start not so good, but then you improve. And I'll give you a very small example here. So as you know, the promotions, right? So this tab here, or you may not know, sorry, if you guys are new, we have a new feature here within Boomerang. As you can see, it says new. So where basically you can run one-off promotions, right? So this particular client is actually testing this promotion, right? So there was a test, and there's test one, there's test two, right? And they're being very strategic. And as you can see, the result compared to the usual results, the results are pretty poor, compared to the normal results. However, they're learning from this and they can see progression, right? And me as an agency to this client, I'm providing all the stats, all the figures, everything that they need to see the return on their investment, whether overall or whether in a particular campaign, right? So first, they've done a 2-for-1 starter, but there's a lot of conditions to it. It has to be this day, that day, whatever, right? And they thought, okay, they've run it. It didn't do too well. Only 3 people came, right? Too many conditions is in the end what we've realized. Now, if we didn't have these numbers, all these stats, all these figures, right, it would have been difficult to pinpoint the ROI, what's happening. Like I said, it's not all about the positive ROI, it's also about the negative ROI as well. If you can confidently, if you can show them that, then that in itself is results, right? Then they thought, okay, maybe it's the starters, maybe people are not responding to starters, so let's change it into mains. They've changed it into mains, and as you can see, this is still active so far, slightly better, right? Same kind of conditions that they have, but again, one more time, I don't think it will do well. because there's too many conditions attached to it. So they will now do the third one, where maybe the offer maybe still remains, but the conditions will be reduced, right? Again, as an agency, especially now and moving forward into 2026, you have to be able to show business owners numbers, ROI, good, bad, good numbers, bad numbers, doesn't matter. You need to be able to make strategic decision based on data, and you need to help them visualize that themselves, and they need to be able to see it and very easily understand. You giving them a tool, you building them a site, you building them an ad campaign, you doing this, that is not good enough. You need to say, hey, it didn't work because of this, here's proof, or it did work because of this, this is amazing, we got to repeat the same thing, look at this amazing results, right? So that's the way marketing is basically changing. So now moving forward, acquisition is way too expensive. So what we need to do is shift the focus to existing customer base and retention, especially with the type of customers we're targeting as an agency. Brick and mortar businesses, anybody who is expecting basically their customer to come back, whether the same week, same month, after a few months, whatever, right? So they're expecting the customer to come back at a certain point, right? Customer acquisition cost, as you already may know, it keeps growing. Ad costs are expensive, leads and services, market is kind of overheated. There's a lot of agencies that will do like ads and lead gen and all that. If a business doesn't work on retention and doesn't monetize its existing customer base, it will eventually end up in the red, right? Because it's just way too expensive to get a new customer. So we as agencies also need to move from we only bring new customers to we manage your existing customer base and LTV. Because what I always say is basically, if say for example brick and mortar businesses, and I'm going to use restaurant as an example because that's my field, number one, and number two is easier, right? So I'll use restaurant. Of course, you may be into bars, salons, and gyms and whatever, not everything else, but I'll just use restaurant as an example. All the restaurant, there's customers coming in every single day, right? If a customer, so if you get, for example, two customers, one customer is a loyal customer just coming in again and again and again, and the other customer comes in one time, but they never come back again, right? And let's just say that is a fact, right? They'll never come back again. If you're able to now, using Boomerang and using Boomerang AI, impact that customer and help the business owner actually bring that customer back again, it's the same thing as if you brought in a new customer, because otherwise that customer wouldn't have returned anyway. So it's the same thing as getting a new customer, but the cost is in most cases almost zero. You're not spending money on ads, right? So one kind of a very powerful analogy / maths that I do with the business owners is this, right? I've named the power of one visit. Just literally just that one more extra visit from the customer base, right? I was on a call with somebody the other day. So he's a CMO of he's worked with KFC, worked with Dairy Queen, big companies, and he's been the CMO. And he's mentioned something very interesting, and that aligns with what I'm about to show you. He said, okay, they've looked at their customer base, and they saw from their customer base, if they have only one more visit from that customer base, one more visit extra, it increases their revenue by 36% more. Just one visit, right? And of course, it makes sense because how much customer base, like how many customers actually in a business like restaurant, in any restaurant, they come and dine in every single week. So many customers, right? If you add up the numbers, it's huge, right? So let's just do this kind of same maths here for a restaurant, and just try and understand the numbers, and let's try and understand the power of retention and how and why is so much cheaper and so much better to focus on retention rather than only new customers. Of course, if that's your expertise, absolutely, this is also important. But retention is usually, in most cases, forgotten about by the business owners, the small business owners, small to medium business owners, because what they understand is new customers, new customers, new customers. More customers equals more money. More customers equals more money. They don't think about the other side. And generally speaking, they're not marketers. They're not, they're focusing on just their operational side of things. They don't have that knowledge and skills and the tools that they need to work these things out, right? So let's go through this example, right? So let's just say before loyalty, the baseline is that a restaurant has 500 customers, individual customers, visit per week, right? So, and in my opinion, not my opinion, it should be a fact actually. If a restaurant really doesn't have at least 500 customers, total customers in their business coming in and ordering, using the service on a weekly basis, then most likely they'll be closed anyway, right? So the fact that they're open means they are serving minimum that amount. Of course, most will have a lot more as well, right? So that means 52 weeks in a year. So which means total yearly visit is 26,000 customers they are serving per year, right? That's a lot of customers, right? So the customer split, right? And you may already know this in restaurants, basically, or you may not know, but generally this is the case. In restaurant, the average is 80% first-time customers. So 80% of the customers will only visit one time and they'll never come back again for whatever reason. And it's not necessarily because they've had bad service or bad food. It's just that, they just forgotten about you, right? And 20% are returning. So which means 20.8K and 5.2K in terms of, that's the split here, right? Now, for different restaurants, it may vary slightly. If a restaurant is amazing, they might have 30%, they might have 40%. Like if somebody has around about 40%, retention rate, that is crazy. Like they will grow anyway, but most restaurants don't, right? So that's the split here. So next, let's just say average bill is about $30 per person. So if you now calculate the revenue, which means first-time customers, we times it by 30. That's the revenue here, 624K. And then from the returning customers, we have 156K. The total revenue is 780, as you can see here, right? So that's, how things are without any loyalty, without doing anything, without the business owner doing anything. For this particular example restaurant, this is what they're doing. This is what they will be doing, year in, year out, if they don't do anything to impact those visits, the one visit, that extra visit, right? So let's do the maths now. What happens if we just increase just one more visit, right? If that's our target. So let's do this. So let's just say first, we want to increase returns by 5%. So rather than saying 20% will be returning, which is now the case, we want to say 25%, right? They come one more time. So rather than visiting and then not ever visiting again, right, which is the 80%, we're going to say we're going to reduce that down to 75, and we're going to increase the returning to 25. That is our target. And that is just on one extra visit. So they just need to come back the second time, right? So 5% means just over 1,000 customers come back another time. Look at the extra revenue, 31K, more than 31K, just by 5% increase, right? The total revenue increase is 4%, and that's of course their new revenue. And that is only just one visit impacting just 5%, moving from 20% to 25%, right? If you go down, and I will open it up all here, if you do 10%, of course it doubles, increases by 8%, 15%, 93K, 20%, 124K, right? And this is like literally just one visit. And if you see, 5% is very realistic if the restaurant has everything in place when it comes to a retention program, right? And this is exactly obviously what Boomerang provides, just a perfect retention tool, AI powered, for you to implement for these customers. But let's go kind of to the next step, which is okay, but Boomerang isn't built just to bring customers back one more time. Boomerang is built to bring customers back multiple times, right? So let's do second visit and third visit, right? If they do, again, just 5%, look at that, 62K, just 5%, right? So that means on 10%, 15%, 20%. That's crazy numbers here. So what Boomerang is aiming is Boomerang wants to work somewhere around about here, right? Boomerang wants to do anywhere between 15 to or 25% revenue increase. And how this revenue will increase is, of course, simply by tapping into the existing customer base. The restaurant has 26K customers coming already. The restaurant will, week in, week out, they will come, they will open the door, they will serve those customers, right? That is what they serve year in, year out. They've been doing it. All Boomerang will do is tap into this 26K and say, hey, okay, awesome. From this 26K, 21.8K, you only come once. There's an issue. I'm going to try and bring, from these guys, from these 21.8K, I'm going to try and get some of these guys to come back second time, third time. That is all Boomerang is doing here. And just this simple change, it has a huge, massive impact. And I've already shown you kind of, so this is what is to be done and what is done by Boomerang. And I've already shown you how in the end, we are able to provide a very, very crystal clear return on their investment here, right? Here, where is it? Boom, here. We can show these graphs. Hey, this is what you're doing. The bottom line is what you are now, as it is normally. But here's when we introduced our tool, our system, our AI. Look what's happening. It's growing, right? And that is exactly what Boomerang helps you to do. Now let's look at it. This thing in a in a simple way. How do you explain to the customer, right? So if that was a real restaurant here, let's say you're currently doing about X amount per year. If just 10% of your customers come back twice, it jumps to this X amount per year. If 20% come back twice, that's another over 1 million per year. That's a 32% revenue increase without increasing the footfall. It's still the same 26K, right? And all this is done, of course, with zero ad spend. We're not talking about ad spend here, right? If you now also able to bring in new customers, increase their customer base as well, fantastic, brilliant. That will only look better. But this is just working with the existing customer base. But let's just say maybe this is 32% revenue increase. That's amazing. Let's just say that's will be rare scenarios. Let's just go with the bare minimum. Let's just go with 5% return, bringing them back twice. That's an 8% revenue increase. That's 62K, right? What is the fee for they will pay to you? Definitely not 62K. If anything, maybe $200, $300, $400 per month. A couple of thousand, $2,000, $3,000 per year, but they're getting 62K in return, right? And all the customer data and everything else, right? So you're not just, so what's changing in terms of marketing moving forward? So you're not just providing a service, you're basically providing them with, a strategy, a plan, providing them with insight, with data that they themselves can look at and make predictions about their business, right? And all the agencies, especially with the kind of now the era of AI, like you must and you have to be able to do that. Otherwise, you will for sure fall behind, right? Because most people will be able to do that. So, and that swiftly means we can move on to the next part here, which is AI in agencies and moving from task automation to new business models, right? So AI isn't just about saving time anymore. It's now about creating new services and business ideas that were once too complicated, expensive, or not available. And agencies using AI can now provide a complete automated system instead of charging by the hour. So once what was like a dream, basically, you know, and only was enterprise level solution and exclusive to large corporations like your McDonald's, Starbucks, KFC, and all these other big brands, is now, because of AI, is now accessible to local businesses as well. And you, as an agency, should be the person providing that solution, that enterprise level, that only once was a dream. You should be providing that service, that tool, that solution to those local businesses, right? Because that's what it's doing now. It's not just about automation, it's creating these new opportunities that already been tried and tested. It's not about reinventing the wheel. It's just that it was enterprise level, it was too expensive, it was too complicated. It's only now possible. So in any case, of many things that AI has changed, what is the main thing in marketing world, and what is their secret? What has been their number one secret? And I can confirm this because I've been to a few events this year, and with the top marketing gurus, namely one of the guys that's coming into my mind now, Perry Belcher. He's the OG. I think he's the man who kind of back in the days who actually came up with the term digital marketing. He's the one who came up with that term. Obviously, as you know, digital marketing didn't exist when things wasn't digital, right? So he said as well that what's changing in marketing is this. It is now all about personalized communications. In fact, hyper-personalized communication. Marketing is all about marketing, as you know, generally speaking. What is marketing? It is literally just communication. How do you communicate a certain offer, a certain message, a certain action you want the customer to take? How do you communicate that in the best possible way for the customer to take action, right? That was marketing always. That was what was marketing, right? Now it's about personalizing that communication. It's no longer, the generic stuff is no longer working. An offer blast, everybody's getting an offer. Like if you look at your inbox, there's an offer every other day. There's a message, there's this, there's that. Like there's so many just general communication from companies. Those things does not work anymore. And what these guys have done for a very long time, take Starbucks as an example, their communication was always very hyper personalized. So is McDonald's, so is everybody else. If you order a certain coffee, they know you order that certain coffee. They will talk about that certain coffee with you before they offer you something. They will tell you, hey, your favorite caramel macchiato is now available at double points, or is now on offer, or is whatever. So they're talking about what you like. McDonald's, they know when you order. They know if you're a breakfast customer, if you're a lunch customer, if you come in on a certain day, if you respond to a certain offer, and then they personalize that communication with you. When they send that message out, that email, that notification, it already knows what you like, what you don't like. It already knows when you respond, when you don't respond. So that communication has to be personalized. So this is tried and tested, and it works now through the power of AI. And luckily, Boomerang has jumped on this AI very early. Not many companies, I've not come across many companies that are providing AI for local businesses at this level, right? So that for us, for agencies, that is amazing news for us, because we can be the first to provide AI. And AI is kind of a buzzword now. Everybody understands it. Everybody understands the power of AI, because most people would have used ChatGPT, and when they use it, they understand the power, right? And all you need to do is just basically just briefly just explain the power of it, how it works, and how it can help the business owner solve some of their biggest pain points, and how they can get returns on their on the money that they spend, on the ROI. And you've done the job. We're earlier on. People love to hear AI, especially small businesses, right? Because there isn't many companies who build AI for them, right? So what Boomerang has done, as you know, is build Richie AI for the local businesses. So in a nutshell, what Richie AI does, it basically understands the customers by analyzing the transaction data through the POS. So this is in the case if it was a restaurant, and Richie AI, of course, Boomerang integrates with the POS, and it has access to all the data. Now, I'm not going to go too much into detail. I'm assuming everybody here, you have some form of experience, or maybe you already have an agency, or you're interested in this field, so you'll have some idea of how data and analyzing an AI could work. So it's literally analyzing all the data, how often they visit, how much they spend, what do they like, what do they, which item did they have, did they eat, and then did they come back after eating a certain item? It's just looking at so much data. When do they respond? So I know when to engage, basically. Well, that's Richie, basically. Richie knows when to engage with their customers. So it's looking at, okay, when did they respond? When a message goes out in the morning, did they open it? Did they not open it? Versus the evening? Or are they mainly responding in the evening? When are they most likely to visit next? Because it seems like they visit once a month, and usually it's towards the end of the month. So it seems like it's going to be end of the month, or it's going to be on a Tuesday, or it's going to be end of the week. It's going to be on a Friday. It's going to be a weekend. It's going to be a weekday, whatever. So it knows all these things, and then it will communicate with them. Just time it perfectly. If the prediction is that they will visit on Friday, it's going to send a notification on Friday, and it's going to, hey, it's Friday again. Your amazing caramel macchiato is waiting for you. And it's going to obviously address them by name. And of course, why I mentioned macchiato, because I mentioned it before. And it knows that's something that they've eaten before, right? And Richie speaks their language, with their tone. What sort of message do they respond to? Is it when Richie cracks a joke? Are they opening it then? Is it when there's a special offer? Is it certain time, and so on, right? And what about the tone? What should be the tone that Richie should use? So ultimately, what he's doing is continuously analyzing the data. After each campaign, everything that happens, each transaction, is learning and analyzing and improving over time. And then it's able to predict. It gets to a point where it's so good that it's able to predict the next visit of the customer, right? And what it's doing basically here, all this here, it understands the customer, because it understands the customer, because it knows when to engage, because it knows what type of language to use. It's personalized that communication with the customer. So sending the perfect message at the perfect time, basically. And this is where the game changes. This is where I've shown you the graph where, this one here. So because of this personalized communication with the database, this level of growth is possible because these customers are engaging with the platform. Okay, so moving on to the next bit, which is specialization and niching down is the key here. That is the end of we do everything for everyone. Now, if you've maybe ever listened to like a marketing guru, Hormozi, or anybody in the field, Neil Patel, or any of the coaches out there, you will know that everybody is like niche down, niche down, niche down. Don't do everything for everybody. Well, firstly, it's because it's not scalable eventually. And secondly, you can't do everything, and it just doesn't work, right? So you do need to niche down. Definitely, if you haven't done so already, you definitely need to, because the era of full service for everyone is ending as the market demands industry specialist. Why? Because previously everybody needed a website, everybody needs an ad campaign, everybody needs this, everybody needs that. The demand and the need is there. Now everybody's got a website. Everybody either knows how to do an ad or have got somebody else. So there's so many options, so many choice, right? So it's no longer about, okay, if I just have everything for everyone, somebody will need something and they'll just come to me. That's gone now. You need to kind of specialize in something and offer them data, offer them strategy, offer them crystal clear ROI. And you can't do crystal clear ROI if you're focusing on everything, right? So you have to niche down. And by doing so, you can have stronger offerings, higher pricing, and increased trust, because this is a thing that you are really, really good at, right? Agencies focusing on a niche will attract top clients as well, especially the clients kind of, when you start, of course, you'll want to get everybody on board, whoever's interested, but it gets to a point very soon, like personally for our agencies, is now where we have to pick and choose our clients. And we only want to attract the top clients, the ones that they already have things in place, right? And we're able to do that because we say, hey, this is the thing we're going to focus on. This is the thing that we can give you. We can't give you the world. We can't give you social media management, ads, then websites, then this, then that. We're not going to do all that for you. This is the thing we're really good at. And this is the thing I can show you, prove to you, I can show you results. And also, once we start, I will show you the journey from A to B, how we're getting there, good things, bad things, like I said, good numbers, bad numbers, all of that we're going to show you, right? So what we nailed it down to is basically just 3 things for us: capture, activate, retain, right? So this is what we say to our customers, basically, restaurant customers. We're saying, okay, we're going to give you a tool that helps you capture the customers. Because why? You've got, if I go back to this example, you've got 26,000 customers who visit you on a yearly basis. How many of them have you captured? How many of them can you go back to communicate, to remind, to say, hey, actually, you enjoyed what you had, but it seems like you've forgotten about us because it's been 2 months and we haven't seen you. Here's X, Y, and Z for you. Come back. That's the solution we provide, right? Through Boomerang. We say, we're going to give you the tool that will help you capture those customers in a way that that is very unique and it's proven to work. Because I've already shown you here, right? Just from one campaign, this is just one campaign, they have captured 1,775 customers. They have the email. the date of birth, the phone number as well, right? That's just one campaign. Here's another campaign. Here's another campaign. Here's another campaign, right? So it's providing that tool to capture the customers, right? Secondly, capturing is not good enough. You have to activate those customers. Capture the details, great. What about activating, right? What about those customers? Again, sorry about the scrolling. 1755 was captured, but only activated was 399. 835 did not activate. What about those, right? So what is the solution? So we will provide the solution to activate customers. We will also provide the solution to retain customers. So our job, or the tool that we provide, depending on how we work with the client, is basically this is how we work. Richie AI will take care of the activation and retention. There is really not much to do on our side as an agency or their side as a client. The only job that the client needs to do is just capture, right? So we as an agency either give them the tool and say, hey, seems like you know what you're doing. Here's how you can capture. Just do this and let Richie AI take care of everything else. Or in some cases, we get involved if they're willing to pay for it. We help them capture. We help them do some campaigns, right? To capture those customers. But either way, that is the only job that needs to be done. Capture, capture, capture. Richie will do the rest. Richie will retain customers automatically through the hyper-personalized communication. It will retain and it will activate. It will activate customers by saying, hey, seems like you still have this coupon, you haven't used it, come back. We have this other amazing thing, right? What we're doing, or it could be your simple offer, or this is our simple offer. Anyway, we implement AI that will help clients activate and retain their customers and increase revenue through Richie AI. And we will show them crystal clear ROI. That is our offering. We're going to implement AI that will activate and that will retain customers through AI. And we will show you your crystal clear ROI. We're going to show you without AI, without Richie, without us, here's your result. With AI, here's your result. Do you like it? Yes, fantastic. Let's move forward. Let's carry on. Keep paying your subscription fee, and we will keep your account active. All the customer has to do is capture. How do they capture? This is one way. Put a QR code on the table, because they have 20, remember, I'm going to go off the example again. They have 26,000 people visiting every single year. The idea is to put a QR code on the table that takes them onto a small form, whatever data they want to capture. Then the card, the Apple or Google Wallet card, is added into the customer's phone. Now the client's brand is in the customer's phone. Now Richie AI can take over. It can send unlimited, free of charge notifications. And it could also, as of the New Year's, actually in 2026, also apply the same level of AI hyper-personalization on emails and SMS as well, right? So that is one way. Of course, they can do, they could put the link on their website. They could put the links on their social media. If they want to, they can even do paid ads to capture customers, right? This capture part is all they need to do. Rest is done by Richie AI, by Boomerang. Now, you as an agency, you can just provide them with all the tools, all the materials, and let them do it, or you can charge a little more extra and help them capture, help them design this flyer, help them do a Facebook ad that asks for their customer data by giving them an incentive, right? Help them put the link on their website, help them do help. So ultimately what you're doing is just helping them capture. Help them put the link on Google. Help them put the link on Instagram, right? That is it. That is our simple offering now. Previously, we used to do so much. We used to offer a lot of things. Whatever you need. Hey, restaurant owner, what do you need? Anything you need is us. We're going to do it for you, right? And we used to do like a lot of done for you stuff, like everything done for you. We've changed now. We've changed to do it yourself. Here's the tool, here's everything, here's some materials. So it's do it yourself and do it with you kind of offers, right? So this is where we're like, okay, we'll support you. We'll give you the links and all these things you need to put it on your website to do this, to do that, blah, 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 all that, right? That is a simple offering. That is how we have kind of a, number one, niche down to restaurants only. And why? Because then we can use data and we can use these, case studies to close customers. So it's important to niche down to a certain vertical, but also niche down to the extent, what is your offering? What are you offering? Keep it simple. Don't do everything, right? And through Boomerang, this is what we're offering, right, guys? Almost to the hour. This is the last part, not long. So shifting to subscription model and owning a SaaS inside your agency. Now, I don't know what you do now at the moment. Different people are probably offering different things. Maybe you have like kind of subscription packages, retainer model, whatnot. If you don't, you must. This is the time, right? There was times I used to do websites, right? Charge them one-time price and that's it. Yeah, a little bit of income, but the problem is it was never predictable. What I would rather do is do the hard work once and get paid again, and again. And then my growth is, of course, predictable. So you already understand the power of SaaS. You already understand the reason why it's important to have, subscription-based model in your agency because of the predictable growth. So I don't want to go too much into this. However, I can share you a story, a small story that literally yesterday I spoke to somebody and they jumped on a call and they're like, hey, Kamal, you seem like you're doing really well with Boomerang. I'm also a white label Boomerang agency. And, I want you to, are you able to do some private coaching? I don't mind paying you, right? Honestly, it's not something I've done before. So I was like, oh, I don't know. I've never done it before. And so on. So, and then I went into, I was like, okay, so tell me a little bit, what are you doing? He goes, okay, it's been about a year or so. I'll be honest, I can't remember exactly how long actually, but it wouldn't, between a year, no more than 2 years, right? And I've got some clients, right? They're paying, everything's okay, but I'm kind of stuck there. I need help to move on to the next step. So I said, okay. So what is your income now at the moment, right? So he said he's earning 3K per month at the moment on the subscriptions. So he has clients paying with the clients that he has, 20 something clients. He's got 3K on a monthly basis, and he's on the unlimited package with the Boomerang. So he's paying something like probably about 3-4K per year, right? Which is what, like maybe, I don't know what it is in monthly. I haven't worked it out, but he's paying his cost is 3K per year, and his income is 3K per month. And he is now stuck. He doesn't know how to move forward. But because he built a SaaS agency, he built a very predictable growing agency because he has his customers paying him again and again and again. Even though he's stuck, he still has a very successful business, right? He's earning 3K every single month. It's because he's done the hard work with his initial 20 clients, right? Now he can get stuck. It's okay. He's still earning money. Now he can take the time to work out what is the next step for him, right? So I'm going to provide some support to him, and hopefully he'll grow to 30, 40, 50. But look, his business is very profitable. And even being stuck doesn't matter because he's still earning money, right? So I'll leave it here. It's an hour already. I get a little bit excited sometimes, and then time flies by. Hopefully, this was inspirational and it makes sense as to what is changing, and how we have changed, and how we have kind of prepared and moving into 2026. What is our plan? And this is it. Our simple offer is this, right? So I would say, if you're considering Boomerang, for sure you should jump on as soon as possible. Experiment with it. It might take you a month, it might take you 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, forget it, maybe 6 months, whatever, right? But look at the situation of this person that I spoke to yesterday. They've got the 20 clients, they've got reoccurring income. Now they're stuck, but who cares? They're making 3K per month. That's probably somebody's wage. So I would definitely advise people to join and get started, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Kamal. I see some comments in our chat that it was really much value this webinar, and I want to present something because today it was a lot of insight and a lot of trends for upcoming year, and next week we will have the workshop. Let me share the link, and we will try to implement all these trends in a practice. We will have 3 days, like 1-2 hours per day, fully working with me, with Amir, it's our head of sales, and we will implement the full white label agency with AI. And we will show all the steps how to implement a SaaS model in your business and how to achieve your first 10 clients using AI. You could click on the link and sign up for our upcoming webinar workshop for next week. I see some comment, where can we find Kamal? You could find in the private school community, actually. Let me share the link. One moment. Let me open it. Settings, invite, copy. In this community, it's our private school community, you could find lots of our successful agency, like Kamal's agency, and you could ask any strategical question and get some reply for it. Okay. I don't see any new question. I see just comments about that it was a really good webinar. Thank you again, Kamal. And I think that's all. Time is over. And let's see in the private school community, and let's see on our workshop next week.
Amazing. Thank you all.
Have
a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.